Welcome to Thriver TV, the place to break free with true solutions to heal for real from narcissistic abuse and painful relationship patterns. More than just information to survive, you are granted the tools to thrive. Many people can't understand why victims of abuse stay, and once upon a time, I must admit, I used to think, why are you still with him or her? Okay, that's all changed. Now I understand it. But maybe you've got people in your life that can't understand why you stayed or why you're still staying, and maybe you're bamboozled why you continue to stay. All right, so this is a really important conversation because today I'm going to explain why people stay, why I stayed, why you've probably stayed or are staying, and how to unravel and break free from these holds that have been on you with abusers. All right, so I'm going to talk to you about how we have unconscious reasons that have trapped us into abusive relationships, how you can break free from these powerful inner programs, and what relationships in the future can be as a result of breaking free from these painful patterns that are very unconscious. Okay, so before we get into all of that really important stuff, I just want to say thank you so much and how grateful I am for those of you who have supported the Thriver mission. And I want to invite you, if you haven't yet done so, to subscribe to my channel, and then you'll get notifications every time I put out a publication. There's, more than one a week. And it also gives you access to a whole heap of other free resources to really help you with your healing journey. Okay, so let's get started with my first talking point, which is the unconscious reasons that you are trapped in abusive relationships. Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about my story first, and it's about recognizing patterns because they're really important to understand. And our patterns are things that we generally repeat from our childhood, and we end up with people who really represent these patterns. They're just a different face and different clothes, but it's the same things that happen over and over again because we all have an inner love code. This is something that we've taken on from our childhood. This is something that is our reality about love. And for me, my inner love code was the people who love me control me. The people who love me cross over my boundaries and they infiltrate into, my private world, my stuff, my rights, my things. That was kind of my normal to me. I didn't like it. It used to really annoy me, but it was my normal. So what happened with that was the people that I was choosing to be in relationships with, which equaled my love code, were controlling people who would infiltrate my boundaries. And we really need to understand, and it annoyed me and I hated it and I fought back against it, but these were the people who represented my love code. Now, let's just backtrack a little bit and see how all of that gets set up. As little kids, we're emotional sponges. We're basically dreaming while we're awake. We're in theta brainwave and we're just open to all the messages and all the things that happen to us. And we don't have the logical filter to say, well, that's right and that's wrong. We just take it all on. So we have experiences that we have emotional reactions to, and some of those emotional reactions are very positive and warming and wonderful, and some of them are very, very painful. The more emotional energy that's connected to an event that we have, the more powerful the belief that we have with it, such as the people who love me control me. They violate me. They infiltrate my emotions, my life. They don't let me have my rights, and they don't let me have my voice. So that was my programming. And then we're attracted to the people that match these programs. Now, this is where it's all very, very deeply unconscious, and it's all going on underneath the level of cognitive recognition until we wake up. So for example, I'd done a lot of psychology on this, and logically I really knew that I wanted to avoid controlling people. But then what happens is when narcissists come into your life, they work you out very, very quickly, and they will appear to be what you want. So they'll package it very, very well. And they'll find out, they'll work it out. Okay, you've had controlling people in your life, so I'm going to pretend that I'm really secure in myself, that I let my partners have their freedom, I let them be themselves, I hear them, I really welcome other opinions, and people with their own voice. And that's actually what you believe. But the truth is, the inner program is what's causing the attraction and the connection. The people I love control me and violate me. Now, even if you have somebody come into your life and they appear quite bolshy and, very sure of themselves and a little controlling, because you're attracted to this person, because chemically they hit the spot of the belief, love equals this. You can make justifications and excuses. Oh yeah, but they're nice in this way, or they're nice in that way, and they're nice in the other way. Now let's just flip that. Let's say that your programs were, the people in my life who love me ignore me. I'm irrelevant. They show me no attention, they desert me and abandon me. So rather than engulf you, they do the opposite. So then, a narcissist could come into your life, male or female, and they work out that you've been ignored and you were treated like you didn't exist and you were irrelevant, and they will say, oh my gosh, I give my partner so much attention and I'm totally there for them, and I see you, I hear you, I validate you, you're so important to me. But they actually match the inner pattern. And it is so interesting because let's say the real deal came in, which would be healthy for you, somebody who would connect with you healthily and give you attention, like for me, somebody that would give me space. You wouldn't be attracted to them because they don't match the love code. They will be, we've all had the experiences where I know that person's a really nice person, but I'm just not attracted to them. Can you see how this works? It's so important to understand this. Now, I know we're not talking about why you stay with abusers yet. We're getting to that. This is why you've got with them and why the connection is so powerful. Now we're going to get on to, there's a lot in this, but I'm going to hit the main point. Why we stay with abusers. I'll tell you why. Because unconsciously we're trying to mend unfinished business. And this is the little person inside of us which is screaming, Mum or Dad, can you please do it right this time? So for me it was, can you please give me space? Can you please trust me? Can you please know me enough to know I'm not going to do the wrong thing? Or maybe it was you who was going, Mum or Dad, I am worthy of your love. Can you see me? Can you hug me? Can you hold me? Can you love me? Can you connect with me? Can you treat me as valid? Can you see what's happened? Because we've got these unhealed parts, these unfinished business. Really what we're doing is we're being the wounded child with the person who's representing the pattern, and we're trying to get our parents to do it differently this time, rather than self-partnering and turning within and reparenting and healing ourselves in a quantum way, which I'm going to get to. I'm going to talk about that a little bit further on. Okay, now I can almost hear some of you saying, because I've heard this for 12 years, some of you might be saying, my parents weren't that bad. They were really beautiful, loving people, and I didn't miss out when I was a child. I want you to understand this. Trauma programs can be inherited. Maybe your parents were beautiful, but they were abused when they were young. And maybe they've brought you up to be loving and to, you know, be really beautiful to people and really charitable and caring and considerate. And they taught you how to be a good person, but they didn't teach you how. You may need to do tough love one day. You may need to speak up and honor the sanctity of your soul with healthy boundaries. Maybe they didn't teach you boundaries because they hadn't learnt them for themselves. But I'll tell you this, because it's consistent for all of us. If we're not willing to own that there are subconscious reasons why this has happened, and there is inner programming that is really like a heat-seeking missile that's so within, so without. It's a quantum truth. And we can't run around and try and change and control the billions of people out there to stop getting hurt. We can only turn within to confront and heal what we need to heal and grow up within and develop within ourselves so that these programs can stop playing out. Which leads me to my next point. How do we break free from these painful patterns? We can only do that by doing the inner work, by going to the traumas that are getting triggered off by this awful relationship or what's going down, because what that is effectively doing is it's making the unconscious programs within us conscious, because they're hurting, they're up. We know that they're there because they've got our attention now. And we know that these are feelings of helplessness or frustration or powerlessness. You know, they're playing out with this person, they're fully up and conscious, and we're trying to fight them and we're trying to fight what they're doing to try to get them to change to heal us. But that means we're not meeting it at its root. These people are symptoms. They're giving us the evidence of what we're playing out and what we're unconsciously colluding with. So we can turn, how do we change that? We take our power back. This is about turning within and meeting and claiming those traumas at their root. And this is exactly what my Narcissistic Abuse Recovery Program does. That's why NAP is so successful, as it was for me and thousands of others who have turned this all around. And you can too, because it takes you inwards to feel, meet, load up and release the trauma energy of what happens right now. And your body is ingenious. This is your true wisdom. It knows what you need to heal. So rather than trying to work it all out up here with, you know, years and years and years of psychology and therapy, which is what I did, and it still didn't help me until this journey now. What happens is when we get the dense emotional traumatic energy out of our bodies, it takes the belief programs with it. The faulty beliefs, the people I love ignore me, believe I'm not valid. The people I love violate me and take away my rights. All of that goes. And then we replace it with source. That's what we do. And when that happens is we grow up and we develop into a healthy flatline, a reset of our true source self, which is whole and at one with the truth. So, you know, my story was so much about what I've already shared with you, but I also had so many beliefs. I can't survive without a man. I had the beliefs that I can't be myself and be with a love partner. It's impossible. I had my beliefs that if I'm left, I will die. And I know that my story is many women's stories, because this is not just our personal beliefs and traumas. This is a collective gender-based beliefs and traumas. And you may have not just, you know, I know with many men that their beliefs have been, I have to prove and show that I'm good enough. And maybe they've had mums that, you know, were codependent or not well and disempowered, and they were hurt. And these men they wished they could rescue their mum. They wished that they could help her get well. And that's been an attraction point for them to get into relationships with women that they're trying to help and make get well, women that are actually abusing them or ignoring them or not, granting them a connection that they would want. So there are many examples and there are many, many, many ways that this can play out with our beliefs and our traumas that keep us hooked in with unhealthy people for us, even very abusive people. And we end up going, I never believed that I would tolerate that. I never believed I could stay with that. I never believed that I could lose myself and my rights and my soul at this level. I never believed I would ever be in situations like that. And I know that you're the same. It's so important to clean this stuff up, because if it's not cleaned up, it's just going to unconsciously keep going and you're going to feel hooked and stuck and bonded in the relationship that has been matching your love code. Okay, so once we're really working at cleaning this up, there's a big shift, which takes me to my next point. Relationships in the future. What are they going to look like? How are you going to experience them if you do the cleanup on the inner love code? Okay, what happens is, well, first of all, you will start losing all attraction for the person that you've been playing out your painful love code with. So what does this mean? It means that you're not going to be stuck in relationships, experiencing all the things that you never thought you could or would, staying connected to somebody, trying to force them to change in order to get your salvation. Okay, you're not going to do that. You're actually going to look at this person without the level of bonding and attraction and need for all the things that are like, we need resolution, we need closure, we need them to get it, we need them to acknowledge us, we need them to have compassion. All of that will go, because when they're no longer a match for your love code, that person becomes not your reality. They become somebody you're not interested in anymore. In fact, it even gets to the point where they can literally repulse you. It's just not you anymore. Okay, so as a result of reprogramming your inner love code, and really all that means is that you've picked up the trauma, which has taken out the beliefs, you've brought in source. You don't even have to learn anything. You just become the reset back to your wholeness. Okay, so what happens if that, and I'll give you my examples. I used to be very attracted to people that were controlling, that were narcissistic. And what happened from that point onwards is when I was doing the work and had done enough work on myself, I'd be out on dates with people that were my old love code, and even without picking it up, I would find that I wasn't attracted. There wasn't a chemical connection anymore. And because I could show up as myself, no longer unconsciously colluding with that old program, being a different person by being myself and being able to confront things and ask questions and be really honest, these people got flushed out anyway. And then what I found is that people who were authentically more secure in themselves and not jealous and not controlling and could allow space and trust, they became attractive. They became the type of people that I was interested in and enjoyed spending time with. These were the people that used to leave me cold, but now all of a sudden they started standing out, they started shining. So what you will discover is that you have now established true values and limits inside of yourself. You start to, when you heal up You know who you are. You're not interested in playing out in your old love codes. You know this consciously and you know it subconsciously because the two things have become congruent. This is what awakening is all about. This is what awareness is about. This is about coming out of the old slumbers. You know what your old love code was. You've confronted it. You've released it. You've been healing it. And you start waking up. You start having these epiphanies. You can look at it and you go, is it any wonder I was playing that stuff out? Is it any wonder that I couldn't pull myself out of it? And all of those old charges and energetic traumas and bonds release, and the more they do, the more you wake up. And then you start saying, you know what? I am not going to play with that anymore. I am going to lay boundaries. I am going to be myself. And if somebody can't grant me space, well, then I'm going to walk out the door. I'm going to tell them to walk out the door because I'm not going back to who I was. And you mean it and you're powerful in it. It will be exactly the same for you. If you've been with people who ignore you and run off with other people and you're not valid and you don't matter, you know that if people can't grant you connection and teamwork and validation, that you are going to speak up and you say, this is not my idea of a relationship. This is what I deserve and want. This is the truth for me. If it's not for you, that's fine, but that is the truth for me. And if people don't step up, you'll leave. You will no longer wrestle with people's character to try to turn them into somebody to make you happy, safe, and loved. That's your job. That's what our development and our healing does. It puts the power back in what you're generating and manifesting in your life. And then your entire life changes from the inside out. And you will certainly no longer tolerate abuse. You won't be unconsciously trapped in it. And you won't stay attached to it. It's no longer your reality. Now, if this has made sense to you, if you feel it in the literal cells in your body and you know it's the truth, I want you to pause this video and write this powerful declaration for yourself below, which is, I declare I will heal to honor me and my relationship choices in the future. Okay, and you'll be able to go to the blog and you'll be able to see that statement. Okay, or just pause and go back and get it right. Now, after you've written that down, made your declaration to yourself and the world, does that feel empowering? Does it feel empowering? If so, share those feelings too. Okay, now declarations on their own aren't enough. We've got to put in the inner work. It's all about the inner work. So I really hope that you've enjoyed this, and I would really love you to share and like this video if it spoke to you to help others in need. And if you are ready to do this inner work, I would love you to check out my NARP program, which is the most direct and powerful way I know of to get this inner work done. Not in years and years and decades, very quickly and very directly, which is what we all want. Okay, so click out the link, check the link at the top right of this video, which will connect you up to NARP. Okay, so until the next one, you know how it goes. Keep smiling, keep healing, and keep thriving. There is nothing else to do. And I so look forward to answering your comments and your questions below. Lots of love. Bye-bye.